Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where it's about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about episode 13 of Bulgasal, Immortal Souls. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we're picking up in the aftermath of the previous episode, where Sungon remembers a memory from 1,000 years ago, and she ends up stabbing Hawal because it's like, right, I saw you were surrounded by all these dead bodies, and that's the thing I'm unclear of, like, that, I'm surprised, for one, he still has a wound because he was a Bulgasal back then, but for her to be able to inflict a wound, could she have been a Bulgasal as well? So that's when, like, in the process, maybe in that situation, maybe it was the inverse of their encounter 600 years ago. Maybe that, or rather their encounter 600 years ago was the inverse of that. Maybe she became maybe he ended up taking her soul and becoming human, and she ended up becoming a Bulgasal in the process. Because it's like, how else was she able to curse him like that? Because a wound in his hand is from her stabbing him, but it seemed like when you looked at her eyes looked like they were red, but maybe that was my mistake. That's what I'm unclear of, on whether she was already a Bulgasal and she cared about humans and he didn't, or was it that she was already human and he fell in love with a human, but it's like he was worried that she would leave him for the other humans. So, because it's like, right, you've taken an interest in these children like they're yours. So maybe it's because they are Bulgasals, they are a pair that all we have is each other. And for Hawal back then, it's like, no, you are all I have, and I'm afraid that you might choose the humans over me. So maybe that's his main reason for killing everyone, so that she wouldn't leave. It was a twisted, very toxic relationship of, nah, like, I need you all to myself. I don't want you to ever leave me. Or maybe there's extenuating circumstances, because despite how Sungon is acting, she is only seeing a fraction of the story. She did get other instances, but that ends up being a thing too. Continuing like the beginning of it, Hawal was like, wait, you saw me do all that? He's like, I had a memory of you surrounded by all these bodies. So could that be a later memory? Like, could that be after he got... Once again, we don't know if this incarnation of him, the one, this reincarnation he's been living for the past 600 plus years, this Hawal, who we've been following as Hawal up until this point, from the first episode until now, could it be that memory he has of her surrounded by all those bodies? What if that was later, like after he became human, he was no longer a Bulgasal, and it ended up like getting reincarnated, and that was him running into Sungon in a later, like him when he was reincarnated, and maybe his next life, or at least a later life down in his lifetime. Who knows? There's still so many questions on that front, but for him it's like, wait, I had a memory of this and you had a memory of that. Like, there's an inconsistency here. There's no way both of us could be seeing this, like, and why is it that... So that's why I'm like, it's two different events. It has to be them. He's remembering a different event that happened later. She's remembering the original event. Maybe. Or it could be, well, because Olte says, like, right, you asked me 1,000 years ago to make you a Bulgasal. So did he wait those 600 years to do, the 400 years to do that? Why? How did he stop being a Bulgasal in the first place? It had to be that she took it from him. Like, maybe she took he ended up taking her soul, and that ended up being all... I don't know. Before they could even really continue talking, everyone shows up, which Hawal's pissed, because it's like, right, Miss Lee, this is on you. You put my family in danger. And for her, it's like, wait, so I'm not family? And then Hawal just kind of stops. Because at the end of the day, who did Olte say that he was going to kill? His wife, his father, and his son. Doesn't count Miss Lee, because he doesn't know how important Miss Lee is to him. He doesn't know her significance, so he isn't really aware of her existence. So that's why he didn't include her in that, because he's like, right, these are the three people you lost all those years ago. Like, obviously it's going to cut deep. Miss Lee has only become important to him in this incarnation of her life. These past 50 years, she's become something important. In the beginning, she was just a means to an end to him. That's why. But over time, it has become something more. Like, from the beginning, it's like, right, I'll keep this kid around because she can see prophecies, so I'm going to keep her around for that purposes. But it did become a situation of he did start to care about her. But And that's a heartbreaking thing, too, in the long run. He's never going to have an opportunity to apologize. Even though Dooyeon was like, apologizing to Miss Lee. Obviously, she's a little upset about everything. It's like, yeah, this is all your fault. So, like, say something. But he was dealing with so much at the time. He was dealing with all these memories that Sangam was having. Because they're all trying to pretend like everything's okay. He's worried about what Ote is going to do. It's like, right, he's going to kill everyone important to me. So Kwon is like, all right, I'll investigate. You get to stay here at the house so everyone's okay. Obviously, Siho can tell something's wrong, and she's kind of actually saying in the long run, maybe it's better that Sangam doesn't remember the past. Like, obviously, a young Miss Lee was like, yeah, you remember this, and you get back your memories, and everyone's going to die. Once again, we don't know the full context of that, but... So even Sangam started worrying about, like, right, if I do start remembering, maybe it's not for the best. And the sad thing is, she starts remembering more and more, and she can't shake that. Like, coming to terms with the whole wall she's come to know and trust and believe in so much versus the one she doesn't know and now she's getting these visions of. But that's the complicated thing. We don't know what Sung Yeon knew. Because all she knew is, right, you need to find this sword, the Bulgasal. So that's why she's been trying to find this sword the entire time to kill Ote. So she thinks it's... She thought, you know, who knows how much Song Yeon knew, because Kwa Yeon, their previous incarnation, wanted both of them dead. We don't know if Song Yeon... Because Song Yeon probably knew that both Bulgasals had to be used to kill each other, so maybe she was going along with that because this is the point that Hwal makes, is that both your sister and your previous incarnation had all their memories, because only those with the scars on their shoulder had the memories, because it's having that scar ties back to it. So the thing is, eventually Sangam is going to remember everything, but she doesn't know if that's necessarily a good thing. And to the point that she is scared of Wall, even to the point he tries to like walk towards her, she kind of backs up. I don't know if she even realized it. But sadly, things are complicated between them, because he realizes just when he's starting to like her, and she's liked him for a long time now, it's starting to change, and now it's, oh. Because even at one point, I think he says that you will eventually hate me the moment you get your memories back. And she's trying to be like, no, of course, it would never happen that way. But, you know, so even later on, he's talking about it. It's like, right, your previous incarnations wanted me dead anyway, so I will put an end to this once and for all to protect the people I care about, and so you don't have to be scared anymore. Because she's like, right, we should do it. I'll give you your soul back. He's like, you're only doing that because of what you saw. You're scared of who I will be. As if I'm Bulgasal, I can kill and hurt people. So you think by giving me my soul back that I won't have the power to hurt people anymore. And he's like, for him, it's like, that's messed up, because regardless of what you saw for the past 600 years, I've held on to the fact that I'm human. I've never killed anyone that was innocent. I only killed murderers. Obviously, the people he's killed recently have all been reincarnated monsters. That's all I've ever done. I've never drunk human blood. I've done the best to maintain, because I still believe I am human. And and that's that thing of like, you look at me like I'm a monster, like, and that's the sad thing, that before they kind of made it seem like, right, nothing we learn is going to change how we feel about each other, and it does. It complicates things a lot. But once again, she's only seeing a slight picture into the grand scheme of things. He also hasn't told her that, right, he became Bulgasal because apparently in the past he told Ote that, he's like, I want you to make me Bulgasal. He's like, you made me promise you that all those years ago. Then later on, you have the police showing up, which one of those people is, what was he, Captain? I think I kept calling it a Detective Ham, but I think he's Captain Ham. But regardless, Ham ends up going with the others, and because at first it's like, oh, where are we going? And he looks outside and he sees, like, I believe it was the mayor. He sees him, and it's like, what is he doing here? And so we find out they were sent to the house to arrest, because it's like, oh, the murder suspect's connected to all these things. And even Captain Ham's like, oh, that drowning thing? Yeah, we know that he killed himself, right? That's what it said. It's like, no, we found out that he didn't. He was murdered, which is funny, because Ote had done everything he could to make that whole thing go away, because And that was the point that Hual was making. Before, he only went after everyone as a means to come after Hual, to get Hual to do what he wants. Now it's no longer about that. Hual broke his heart, so it's like, nah, screw it, I'm gonna kill everyone important to you. So it's about straight up not just using them as a means to an end like before, it's about straight up killing them now. So, and the same thing is like, oh, I'm done protecting Hual, I'm gonna use this to my advantage. They go there looking for Hual and Sangan, but by the time they had stayed hidden, but they planned on taking Siho and Duyan, but Miss Lee decided to go with them, and maybe it's a good thing she did. Maybe it worked out because she did go with them. Maybe in a sense that things could have been, things were already bad. Let's not even mince words. Things at the end of it all, it's bad, but maybe it could have been even worse if she wasn't there. Who knows? But she was like, right, this is all going to be resolved. I got to be there to be your guardian. I'm going to take care of you guys, and we're going to go back home after all this said and done and fix a meal. And that's what rubs me, and that's the thing that bothers me, and I'm sure is going to bother the hell out of Detective Kwan, is Ham had so many opportunities. He knew from the beginning, this isn't right. We don't have any legal reason to really hold them. It's like, oh, they're witnesses, but it's like, right, illegally holding them like this, and you didn't even take them to the police station. It's like, the moment's like, wait, where are we going? It's like, and Siho was like, this doesn't go anywhere. Where are we going? The fact is you're kidnapping people, and the guy who's kind of running things is like, right, we got this order from higher ups. If we do this, we'll actually be able to go places. So the fact is that Ham went along with it, regardless of, like, you didn't know in the beginning what this was all going on about. But once Quan found out, he's like, wait, you're a dirty cop. Do you know the person you took them to? Everything that went down is on him. Yes, you were put in a position, but at multiple times you could have stopped this. You could have tried to do the right thing, but you didn't. You could have called this in. Granted, who would you have called it into? Like, all your higher ups are corrupted, so you just went along with it. So everything that goes down is on him. It's his fault. He could have done the right thing. At one point in time, he was a good cop, and I still think he is to some extent. But in this moment, he was weak and went along with the others and did nothing, Because even the guy was convinced him, like, oh, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to drop them off to here. It's like, so I guess he was like, but that's the thing. Miss Lee was literally screaming, oh my God, they're going to kill us. And no one came in there. It's not like you were, oh my God, you were miles away. It's like you were just outside. You ignored her cries and pleas because Olte wants them all dead. Because he, at the same time, he's trying to show Sangan the true nature, the true colors of the person that's trying to protect her. Because in the grand scheme of things, his plan is to break everything. He wants to destroy everything that Hual's built for himself. This makeshift family here. Really his family in some regards, but Miss Lee and Sangan as well being an element to that. This family he's built, Olte's trying to destroy all that because Sangan trusts him so wholeheartedly. So now that if I can disrupt that trust between you, if I can make you scared of him, then yes. And if I can kill those important to him, yes, I'm going to take everything away from him. Because for him, it's like, at the end of the day, he chose her over me, then I'll take that away. You made the stupid mistake of trusting that woman, and again, well, no more. Like I said, it seems like there was, whatever their situation was, whether she was a Bulgasal back then, whether she was human at one point, whatever the case may be, the sword stabbing inside of him, she had the memory of Olte taking him away, and that's before Olte got the hole in his chest. Who knows what their prior connection was like before that for Olte to go out of his way to help Hual like that, to pull him away from that battlefield. Maybe it's just because, like, oh, I know what you are. I want you to make me like you. Because we know he from the previous episode or two, he was like, how can someone weak like me be strong like you? It's kind of the whole point. So we don't know why other than wanting to be like him, we don't know what their previous encounter could have been like for him to go up, to show up now under these circumstances to help Hual and their deep ties and connections. He could tell Hual the truth about everything, but he's like, no, kill that woman first, because that woman has been the bane of our existence. Like, I don't know whether it's like a, I want, like, we're connected, like, whether it's like a, oh, I'm in love with you thing, but you won't love me back, or whether it's like a brother thing of like, no, you're like the brother I always wish I had, or maybe maybe it's kind of that weird relationship, just kind of like, not weird, but maybe it's that complicated relationship with like Miss Lee. It's like, right, I thought of you as a father, then an uncle, then a big brother, and now I'm older than you, I think of you like a son. Maybe there's some complications there where it was almost like, oh, you made me what I am, so you're kind of like my father, but then in other elements, I kind of feel like you're like a kindred spirit, you're like my brother, so we have such a deep connection. Our history goes back 1,000 years. I remember all of it, you don't. And so it hurts that much more when you choose that woman who's hurt you, who betrayed you, who will be the ruin of everything. You still choose her over me, and that's why he's doing it, because he's petty. But it's interesting too, because the mayor's kind of like, oh, cool, like, I've done what you asked, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he has no shame. To be fair, he's been working with Ote, like, for the past 15 years, covering up stuff for him. It's like, oh, you think I'm just going to continue being your cleaner? Well, I got evidence. I'm going to reveal everything about you and your shady identity. And he gets murdered in the process. It's like, that comes as no surprise. But the interesting thing about that scene, though, is that Ote checks his wound and it's still bleeding. Yes, the wound never fully closes. It's constantly in a cycle of healing and staying open. So he's constantly in pain. But now it's to the point that because Hwal went as far as he did, there's irreparable damage. He's already starting to break down. So, like, let's say typically, even with his circumstances being what they are, he's usually at a state of like 100%. Because Hwal went as far as he did, let's say now his maximum state is like 70%. He will never be able to go higher than 70 because the damage that's been done has been done. The process has already been started. And because it was a Bulgasal hurting another Bulgasal, because they're a pair, he can't undo the damage that was done in that regard. So it makes you wonder in the long run, will that have any effect on Hwal? Probably not. It probably won't be until Hwal like completes the process and kills him by them dying together is when it will end. But it doesn't seem like the state Ote is in right now will have any bearings on the state Hwal is right now. It is interesting though, like as he's getting weaker, Hwal's being pushed to a darker side, giving into like becoming more like who he was potentially 1,000 years ago, right? And the entire time everything was going down, I was scared. I was like, dude, please get there in time. We know Quan is outside, but he can't. If he goes in there, he's just going to get himself killed, because he's like, even I don't want to face off against Ote. And hell, even Do-yeon tried to talk to him. He's like, okay, I'll leave. I'll forgive you for everything. My brother, he was just so sick, you couldn't do anything for him. You promised me you won't hurt Siho, so just let Siho and Miss Lee go, and I will go with you. I will forgive you. Everything could be fine. But it's past that point, and Ote just walks away. And every time Miss Lee was hurt, I was like, please don't hurt Miss Lee. I was like, please, please, please. I was like, please, someone, Sungun, get there in time, please. Sadly, they don't, though. Every time she would attack him, I was like, oh god, he's going to take the weapon to stab her or something, isn't he? And ultimately, him smacking her around, she goes into a prophecy state, and she says, like, if maybe she didn't go into that state and speak her prophecy, it was like basically from that wound in that dark hole, what was going to end up coming out was going to be, I forgot all that she said in the prophecy, but basically it was like, right, the soul will return. So I'm assuming like, saying like, Hwal will get his soul back or something like that. Because I don't think he doesn't want Hwal to be human. He wants Hwal to continue being a Bulgasal so they can continue existing and living together. Because Hwal becoming human means he will eventually die again. Or maybe that's kind of insinuating maybe, I don't know. Not unless it's trying to go to the point of saying like eventually he'll be returned to being human so he can be killed. I don't know. But Ote didn't like what she said and ends up killing her. And obviously for Miss Lee, it's like, right, you guys gotta run. You gotta save yourselves. Run, because it's not Do-yeon, Siho, and the baby. You gotta live. And it's just like flashing back to that dinner that they had 2 episodes ago. Them together as a family. And it's heartbreaking. And Quan coming there and then like kneeling and holding on to them. But the monster that Ote is sent after them ends up beating up Kwon and kidnapping Siho and Dooyeon. And by the time they get there, Huo and Sung-an, it's already too late. And obviously, like, you don't see Huo shedding any tears, but you can still see him shaking because it's like, right, he never had a chance to apologize. Because what did he say? He's like, oh, we've been through this before. She'll get over it. But it's like, right, they've been in each other's life. This version of her has been in his life for 50 years. And he can't not feel anything towards this. Because he's like, right, I never got a chance to apologize. You saw me as family, and I treated you like you weren't. But you are someone important to me. But he doesn't have time to worry about that, too. Because it's like, now, Siho and Dooyeon, and now that begs the question. It's like, right, you're kind of tossing her aside. But it's still just the thing of, you can tell he was shaken by, like, she can't be gone. It's like, no. I have to save the others while I can. I failed to protect her. And he loses it and starts attacking all the cops that came back to arrest him. It's like, you guys are responsible for this. You let this happen. And Ham gets in the way. It doesn't seem like he killed the other two cops. He was in the process to, like, the guy who was stepping on his throat. But once again, Kwon was looking at Ham like he was disgusted. Like, this is all on you. You had a chance and you didn't. And Hual was like, where are the others? It's like, right, they got taken. And he's trying to kill the guy. And now Sung-an is seeing Hual the way Olte was saying. And it's like, seeing his true colors. And he's like, I will kill anyone that tries to that hurts my family or gets in my way. And she's still begging, was like, please, you promised you would stay human, that you wouldn't kill someone. I mean, to be fair, it's not like the guy's innocent. Did he do anything directly? No. Was he party to all this? Yes and no. Was he aware of everything from the beginning? No. But once again, he still didn't do what he should have done. He should have done the right thing and done something. He had multiple chances and he decided not to, you know? And, she's begging Hual. It's like, right, if you do this, are you really going to let the Hual I've come to know and obviously trust disappear? But obviously that trust between them is already fading. And Hual knows that. He sees the way she looks at her, the way she looks at him. Even before now, she saw that. So, it's such a bummer, dude. It's like, damn, dude. That's why I'm almost like, man, God, there's no guarantee even his family in this life is safe. Like, Siho, Dooyeon, and even Kwon, they might still end up dead, and he might have to wait another lifetime to find them again. I mean, literally, he'll have to wait for them to potentially get reincarnated again. So, and even then, there's still the Kwon thing of his sister dying. We don't know who did it. Like, it seems like it's Olte, but maybe there's more complications to that. I don't know. Because I don't think that was ever really clarified. But, and because Kwon still hasn't opened up about that being a thing, so. Now the question simply is, where do they go from here with everything? Olte's going away, and obviously, Huo plans on getting Siho and Dooyeon back. But even then, it's like, nah, he's definitely going to kill Olte. It's like, you have to die. I can't keep putting the people I care about in danger. Miss Lee's already dead. I can only hope that she gets to come back and live a good life. I mean, she lost her parents in that fire. Growing up in, like, the orphanage like she did, it's just, and especially for her to die like that in front of Siho and Dooyeon, like, all she's done for them. She has kind of been like not just a guardian, like a mother to them. She's been by their side and supported them, you know? It's almost beautiful in a way, because in a interesting way, she, obviously Kwon's kind of like, you know, a grandparent in his regard of how he looks after, well, he plays like a father role, but it's kind of like a father/grandfather role, because his literal daughter and grandson from a previous life are there, plus like his daughter's pregnant with another child in this. But also, it's like, I was almost hoping there'd be something between Detective Kwon and Miss Lee too, like, you know, the back and forth that they had, and it's just, there's no chance to make up for the past is what's, once again, the most heartbreaking thing. And just the fact is that we continue to be in this cycle, though. I mean, there's only 3 episodes left. That's why I'm like, I'm going ahead and saying this now. Once again, I've not watched episodes 14, 15, or 16, so I'm saying this now, but I'm like, does this have more? I'd assume, I feel like most probably, maybe that's my mistake. I feel like most Asian television doesn't go for long periods of time. Like, it might be a one and done. I think, I mean, it's Netflix, so that might be a little bit of a different area, but I guess it just depends on how well something does. Or just whether like, I don't know if this has a conclusive end by episode 16. Cause I feel like that's a lot to kind of still package in 3 episodes. So I feel like there's probably still room for more story to tell. Or maybe it might be enough to be like, nope, this is all going to be resolved in the next 3 episodes. Cause it might be like a one and done, or maybe there is room for a season. Once again, I won't know at the very least. Well, obviously all 16 episodes are out by now, but I won't know until I get to episode 16 and get to the end to really determine that. But I'm curious to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.